Okay guys, today we are doing a carburetor on a Husky 2600 PSI pressure washer. It has a Kohler xt-7 173cc motor on it. First we're going to take the air filter cover and air filter out. Then we're going to take these 2 10mm nuts and a 10mm bolt out. Then with a pair of pliers, if you can't pull it out by hand, I'm pulling it right out by hand. Pull that hose off, remove this. There'll be another one on the back and right here, just pull that one off too. That one right there is actually to your primer ball. Now we're going to take the clamp off and the hose off. We're going to drain the tank out. I drain it into a clear bottle so that I can see if there's any water or bad gas inside the tank. While it's draining, we can disconnect the throttle, just pull it that way, pull it straight up, and then same with the spring, get it out. Pull the carb straight out, and then just set your empty bottle in here, like with this hose or something, so it doesn't fall out. Just keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't overfill. Rinse this whole carburetor down before you start taking it apart with some carb cleaner. That just helps keep any of the loose dirt out of it. 10mm, remove the bowl bolt and remove the bowl. Now you see what's come out of this. See those beads on the rust on the table? That's actually water. So this thing was full of water. So we're going to have to make sure that this tank is super dry before we put everything together. Alright, let's pull this pin out for the float now. See, there's still rusty water inside that. Those beads are water. Gas spreads out like this here, and then the beads are the water. Now we have to do an extensive amount of cleaning. We got to get all the debris out of there. This is the main jet, very important. Make sure this is clear. That's your fuel inlet. Make sure it's very clean and clear. And then there is this one here and this one here that have to be super clear. And then you have to take the idle screw out and pop this one out. That's idle jet. It needs to be super clean and clear. So we're going to spray through all of them with a can of carb cleaner with a straw on it. We're going to go one at a time, each of the holes, make sure they're very clean. Scrape anything we have to with a screwdriver, whatever we have to, scrub it with a rag, whatever you got to do to get it all clean. Sometimes these jets are super clogged, so they have to poke through with a wire. If you grab a wire out of a wire wheel that you got laying around the house, you know, for your drill or whatever, and yank that one wire out, that's perfect for poking these jets out. This is the idle screw, and this is the idle jet. See, it's got that little brass jet in there. That's got to be clean and clear. Poke it with the wire, spray it through with carb cleaner. When you've gotten your carburetor nice and cleaned out, a little bit of oil spray will help, you know, make it really clean after you've really dried it out with the carb cleaner. It'll just bring it back. Make sure that jet's clean. Those two holes are super clean. Make sure the bowl is nice and clean. You see I had scrape marks where I scraped it out with a screwdriver and scrubbed it with a rag. Make sure your idle jet's very clean and your float and needle valve are very clean. So first we'll put this idle jet right back in the hole right there, the idle hole. Then the idle screw goes right above it in the, you know, where it screws in right there to hold it down. Then we're going to put our float back in. The needle valve will sit right in the fuel inlet. Make sure that rubber tip is good and clean. Alright, then you just set the needle valve right inside, and then you get the pin and you put the pin right in it to hold the float in place. Then we're putting the bowl back on. The seal's stuck on the bowl. I just never removed it because usually if you remove it, it'll swell up on you. Sure as crap, it'll swell up on you. But I'll have a new carburetor, new you know, seals, whatever I can find to, you know, that you would need for doing this job. I'll have them in the description below. So just get that in. Make sure that the drain bolt is on the opposite side of the fuel inlet. Then put the bolt in it and bolt it down tight. Before we go ahead and install this carburetor, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to blow out this tank and then get rid of this bottle. I use an air chuck and an air hose, but whatever you can use, man. Just get it all blown out. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of water. Not much. It's in there though. And that would have stopped that carburetor from running. Water is really bad for the fuel system. Alright, now we're going to install the carburetor on. Make sure you've got this gasket in place. And then slide the carburetor right up in place. And then throttle arm goes in this slot here. It takes two hands. They're going to have to use two hands. Once you get it to go down, this will go, it'll turn. And then you put the spring, there's an open hole right next to it. Right there. This is all in place. Then put the fuel line on. Move the clamp back, put the fuel line on. Okay, got the fuel line on. Now we're going to put the air filter assembly on. We're going to plug the primer ball into that hose first. Once you got the hose plugged in there, you can set it in place. Two 10mm nuts and a 10mm bolt. And then once you got them tightened up, go ahead and put this hose back in place. Air filter cover. We go right in. There's two hooks. The hook right into. You can't really see it very well. Maybe back here. Hook right into those holes. Once you got them in, it'll close right up, and you tighten it down. Then gas cap. Alright guys, that's how you clean a carburetor on a Husky 2600 PSI with a Kohler Courage xt-7 173cc motor. Any of the parts you need, carburetor, fuel line, anything I can find on Amazon. It's super cheap on Amazon to get all new. I'll put it in the description below so it makes it easy for you to find it. If this helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Today's t-shirt will also be in the description below. If you guys want me to wear your t-shirt for free advertising, send me one. Peace.